from there.
Great game. 50 seconds to go. Hurts. Deep shot. Hold in, Devontae.
Sure.
Before the press conferences even start. I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
Doing? He's just picking the big guys. Jordan Mailata, he's huge. He'll be good later on. Josh Sweat, he's tall as hell and strong. Let's get him. We'll figure him out. It's working.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media Live. As always, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Smash those like and share buttons. And as we continue to get towards 500 subscribers on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also turn the notifications, that little bell button that lets you get notified every time DSM Media is live. Yeah, just smash every button you see on the screen. We appreciate the support. And as always, all shows on DSM Media are brought to you by Manscaped, the leader in men's grooming products, the GOAT in below-the-waist maintenance. Check them out. Manscaped.com. Use promo code TRENDING at checkout to get you 20% off and let you know the beard sent you. I am the beard. I am Phil Stifle at Beard of Knowledge on Twitter. And Eagles playoff pump-up week continues. We're in the playoffs, and I'm glad to be joined for the first half of this show by my man, Jimmy Smith from On the Road to Victory. As you can see on the screen there, you can follow him on Twitter at OTR2Victory. That stands for On the Road to Victory. One of the great positive, because I like to use that word positive with Jimmy because he's ultra positive, Eagles YouTube channels and networks there are. Jimmy, welcome to the morning show, and welcome, and thank you for waking up this morning for me.
Hell yes, Phil, my man. When you asked me the other day, I thought, oh my God, Lord, I know my mornings are always hell, especially with the little guy going to school, but always down to make some time for you, Phil. Truly been a pleasure getting to know you. So I'm really excited to be here this morning, man. Thanks for having me. And thank you to everybody who's taken the time this morning to tune in.
Absolutely. You know, I've been using the start. So that this whole week, I mean, we do on the morning show here, we talk everything. My morning show does not write itself until I wake up and check ESPN.com. What are the headlines? But you know what? This week, I mean, it's Eagles playoffs. So we're just literally the entire week. Yes, later in the show after you leave, I'll recap the Sixers game a little bit. I'll talk a few other things. But man, this entire week, it's all gearing up towards Eagles, Buccaneers, Sunday at 1 o'clock. I'm getting everybody's different opinions and all different, personalities, their thought process on it. And I said it that when I introduced you, you're Mr. Positive, and I love that because I try so hard to have that power of positivity all the time. But, you live that for, the Eagles nonstop. And the one thing, following you, I mean, you never doubted this Eagles team from day one. You had a lot of confidence in Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and the entire squad there. So let's start out this show positive. How did you not lose faith in this team when all was lost, when we were 2-5, when we were having slow starts, when, things just weren't going smooth? What did you hold on to that got you to the point where I won't lie. There were moments in the season. I lost faith in Jonathan Gannon. I lost faith in Nick Sirianni as a play caller in the first half. How did you not lose the faith this year?
Oh, Phil, that is a great question. To be honest with you, it's meeting guys like you that really helps me allow myself to get in that state of mind I need to be. I have health issues. Don't really want to get into that, but I got a lot of things that happened to me. Almost died, and that put me on the path to start on the road to victory. So it really was about having that positive mindset, and that was in 2017. So my first year, we all know what adversity we went through, right? And everybody's telling us, you got to give up. Nick Foles can't do this. And for me, and I know you're the same way, I want to contextualize everything. I want to see it for what it is. I want to break everything down. So this offseason was like working a second job, trying to break down what Howie Roseman was going to have to do at the cap space, what he was going to have to do in this draft. And even when all was said and done with the massive amounts of holes, the things he did with everything, not only on the field, but off, it was very grim looking, right? So what I did was I just sat there and was like, I'm going to follow everything they do, and I'm going to pick it apart piece by piece. And Howie, if you mess up, well, you're going to feel my wrath. If you can get this on the right track, well, then I'm a living in the now kind of moment guy. And it was like, let's see what you do for me this year. So obviously, everybody harps on the Justin Jefferson over Jalen Reagor. That is a very big miss. But beyond that, Thought we got some really great pieces that year. And then this year, oh my, you and I talked, man. You know, I was a avid supporter of Devontae Smith, and the fact that we got a number one receiver. Look, Jalen Reagor, who he has definitely had his struggles, and I'm not going to say that he's complete bust, like it's over for him, because he's shown he has talent, but I don't know if he'll ever be that number one guy. So it scared me before this season even started. So I thought, you got to bring in a number one guy, because we're never going to find out if Jalen Hurts is quarterback one. So we go out, we get him a number one receiver. I felt that would help the other guys. You've seen some up and down from them. They need a lot more. I still think we need to add a veteran receiver next year, but I still also think we need to add a lot of defense. So all of these things were talked about before the season. So it allowed me to go into this saying, look, there's going to be bumpy roads ahead. But I made the joke. I actually think I came on your show at that time. This was so long ago when we were struggling. I said, you know, we expected bumpy roads, but I think we've been in the Rocky Mountains in a Prius. You know, it was rough. But what I stressed was this team needs to be a run dominant team. That's the only way we will find success. And I really thought with Nick Sirianni, the way he ran things on the offense, well, Frank Reich and in Indianapolis, we would be running, right? Phil, we were just going to come out the gates running the damn ball. We were never going to have to sit here with the Andy Reid, Doug Peterson. Dude, we all remember. I mean, this has been a curse for years. So he comes out, man. And look, at that time, we talked about it. We were playing teams like the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, you know, the Chiefs. So maybe we got Nick Sirianni in a situation where he's a little scared and he's trying to put up points, and he got away from the run. And look, that's a very young head coaching mistake. So that was something where it was like, okay, these are all things that you expect, right? So before the season even started, I mapped it out. These things are going to happen. We're going to sit here and be pissed off. We're going to be so irate at these times because they're making little mistakes. The only thing I want to see each week is, after those mistakes, how are they growing from that? How are they dealing with that adversity? And I mean, I think number one was clearly your head coach, Nick Sirianni, but Jalen Hurts, man, QB1. That was the biggest talk of the town. And so I went out of my way, Phil. I tracked down his trainers, his chefs. I mean, I was reaching out to his family members. They weren't getting back, but I think they were a little afraid of what Philly media was doing. But I just wanted
if you're not blocked by Jalen Reagor's dad at this point, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you're not doing it right.
He blocks everybody.
I love it. But it's, you know, I went out there and I just wanted guys to really break things down as to who this person was on and off the field. And all I got was, this dude's the Terminator. You know, he's going out there and he's just not real. You know, going to bed like he's old Pappy Rivers at 8 o'clock, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. and he's getting things done before we even wake up that are ungodly. The things that his chef was saying about like what he studies for his diet, it just goes to show me, okay, what is he doing right now to get better? That's what I saw at the beginning of the season. Well, you saw Quincy Avery, you saw all the people working with him. So is that not, Phil, the epitome of Philadelphia? Is that not what we strive for, right? That's the kind of guy.
I just actually discussed that on the show yesterday, that Jalen Hurts, Bryce Harper, and Joel Embiid, they are Philly. They get it. Whether they bring us a title or not is secondary. They get, and they are exactly, and Jalen Hurts gets what Philly is, and that blue-collar, hardworking mentality. You hit that. It's basically like you listened to my show yesterday and you just copied what I said.
I love it, dude. And great minds think alike. And I think we had a lot of this last time we talked, you know, and that's just something, you know, a lot of people don't contextualize things. They don't want to look at things for what they are. And we got a lot. And look, do you think I was happy about what Jonathan Gannon was putting out there? Oh, hell no. And Nick Sirianni not running the ball? No. But every time I came on and I said something about it, I said, look, it's still a young team though. So we have to be patient. And as an Eagles fan, that is one of the hardest things we can ever do, especially after finally reaching the pinnacle. Now we want it. We had a little taste and we want more. So, dude, I think the hardest thing for me was being patient. But that is how I went into the season. And I said, no matter what, I'm going to stay patient, because I truly believed. And even with Nick Sirianni, some people are like, why? What are you doing? I remember I took my girlfriend she's an esthetician now, and she was just getting her license. I was driving her to Harrisburg, just parked. And they said, Nick Sirianni is coming in for a second interview. I popped open my phone, made a live video right there. And we talked about, this guy's going to be the coach. I'm telling you, they really liked his first interview. And I broke down he and his staff. I made a video for each guy, and I wanted to know everything. Like I said, that Howie and Jeffrey were doing, because Yeah, we are the most passionate fans in the world. And if you're not giving back that passion, showing us that you're doing everything you can to make this team the best they can be, well, you're going to hear it, man. So I came into this and I was like, I'm going to give you a fair chance. I am, because a lot of people weren't, Phil. But
I know.
After it looked grim, it was hard, right? So what I did was took myself back a few years ago and I said, look, did you give up then? And, we grew up in a different time, man. A lot of these younger fans don't know that Rich Kotite was our coach, and we've seen pure misery in our lives. And it's like, look, man, this team is young and it's scary. We have so many questions, so many holes going into the season, but isn't it exciting? Didn't you guys see the promise? And, you and I talked about the draft picks earlier in the year, and it's like, we talked about Devontae Smith, Milton Williams, Kenny Gainwell, all these guys that we felt, Landon Dickerson were going to make an impact on this team, and they're already doing that. And just imagine with 10 picks next year, pick 15, pick 16, and then anywhere from 19 to 32, my man.
Yeah, it could be 32. It could be 19, but it could be 32.
Love it. I'm just throwing it out there. But, dude, it's been right. But no, I want to give credit. I want to give credit to you, and I want to give credit to any of the fans out there that, support me, support the Eagles, and just really help me. Because, dude, there's days where I just feel like I want to put my head through a wall, whether it's physical pain or whether it's somebody trolling me. You don't know anything about football. And it's like, I'm trying to break it down for you. Don't get mad at me. And it's like, but Carson Wentz is the best ever. And it's like, I don't even want to argue about that. What I'm focused on.
Anymore.
Thank you.
Move on time.
And the only way you need to is for that pick. And it's happened. So it's like, look, and as much as I love bagging on the people that were riding for Carson instead of Jalen, which is so weird, but it's like, let's go, guys. Who cares? It's playoff time. Let's worry about the teams that are in the playoffs, right? So,
and so all this positivity, all this being patient talk. I mean, I said it with you. I've said it on my show 1,000 times. I bought into day one Nick Sirianni as the leader of men. I bought in since the day we drafted Jalen Hurts, the leader, the off the field, all the things you just said about them. It was it going to materialize into wins? And we knew the schedule. Tough at first, easier in the second half. I won't lie. I only called 2 games. I predicted every single game, win-loss, correct this year, except for 2. I had us, winning San Francisco and losing to Carolina. They flip-flopped, but I had every single game because that's just the way the schedule was, lined up for that. I also had them missing the playoffs. I had them losing last week to Dallas. I just figured that would be the division. I didn't think Dallas would win, 12
Crazy,
games.
Right?
I didn't think they were going to be that good record-wise. So, you just had to be patient. And I can't wait to see all the people come out on Twitter and on social media if they lose on Sunday, which they could. I mean, Tampa Bay is a great team, and be like, oh, Nick Sirianni failed. Nick Sirianni shouldn't have rested his starters in week 18. This, that. Dude, guys, I've been preaching it since 3-4 weeks ago. If we make the playoffs, and we did, this is all gravy. We weren't expected to be at this point so quickly with a rookie head coach that had minimal experience. Jalen Hurts, kind of sorted in his rookie year to an extent, with a bust of a first-round pick in Jalen Reagor as one of his main wide receivers and all these different – dude, come on. This is all gravy at this point. We can break down the X's and O's, why we think they can or cannot win on Sunday. But, man, let's enjoy this ride because then once the offseason starts, it's going to be the real work to take what we have, tweak it a little bit more to take us to the next level. So I just can't wait to see all the negative trolls out there. Oh, Nick Sirianni, this and that. And, come on, guys.
Waiting in the shadows.
Because it was supposed to be a retool, taking our time, working it out. Let's see what they got. We just got lucky, not lucky, but we just got a bonus by getting into the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, man, that added playoff spot, that was something I stressed at the beginning of the year. It said, hey, what if we get lucky and sneak in that last spot, wild card spot? I had the Cowboys winning the division this year. I just really felt we had a little ways to go to catch them, but I really felt, if this team would run the ball, we could be, and like you just mentioned, by the end of the season. I had a feeling we were going to struggle because you said it. Holy hell, you could look at it. You were like, oh, shit. Like, it was coming. And, dude, but what I said at the beginning of the season was imagine if we weighed that storm. How do you come out of that? Even if you lose, how do you come out of that if you took it on the chin and learn from it? So right there, that builds a contender to me. So I've been on record saying, I think we're building a dynasty, and a lot of people hated that. And it's like, I truly think that we will be Super Bowl, and I mean dominant next year, because you have to understand that the retool word is the word I used all off season, because it's not a rebuild. There are just pieces you needed to add, and there's still a lot of pieces. So that retool I talked about is going to take a couple years. So now with those 10 picks, with all that cast, this next year is the year we set up for. We weren't supposed to be in the playoffs this year. So you nailed it, dude. You hit it right on the head there, dude.
Can I change the topic for 1 second? Because you brought it up there, the cap space. I just saw some site. I'm under the impression that we have a lot of cap space coming up this offseason. But then I just saw a site post. I think it said we only had like $12 million in cap space. Can you explain that? Because, I mean, I know I only got so much time, but it's you're big on your cap. You got those cap numbers down. Why do some people have us report it with only like 12 million in cap space? Some, like you, 30, 40, whatever it may be.
If you were to look at it, a lot of this stuff was happening last year, and this is why I made a lot of those videos, Phil. And I appreciated you bringing me on then too, because we talked about $60 million in the hole, right? What the hell are we gonna do? Right. So I went down, broke down everybody's contract, talked about the players we could restructure, talked about the people we could cut, how much money we could save, how we do that. So this year, you're going to need to do the same thing with restructures and cuts. So looking at some of the names, some of the things that are probably going to happen, I myself have come up with a number. I'd love to throw things around, but if you were to look right now, you're going to see somewhere from 12 to $14.5 million. That's where it stands right now. But you got to take that money that we're rolling over next year, because we have right now about 18 million in cap space. So you roll that over next year if you don't spend it, and that makes your cap go up. The cap's already going up to $208 million. So you're going up 25 plus million. Everybody's getting extra cap. Every team in the NFL, not just the Eagles. So I'm seeing not only that, I don't want to say this because I love Brandon Brooks, but
yeah, I knew you were going to say that too. Yeah, it's a hard.
You're going to save some money there, man. And look, I could see the Eagles honestly having around $40, $45 million in cap space. The way I looked at it, I'm going to do a more in-depth show, so don't mark me on that number. But
after the season's over, like I had you on. I had to ask
double the money, I'd say, Phil.
I just wanted to get that thought process out there. I'm focused on now, not the off season.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but yeah. Look, we're talking about let's talk this weekend, okay? Eagles, Buccaneers. You talk nonstop here so far, running the football. That was the key to success. The Buccaneers, when we played them earlier in the season, and yeah, it was a close game, final score wise. I mean, we had a late touchdown there that kind of closed that gap a little bit. But if you look down at the first half versus the second half, at that time, the Buccaneers were the number one rush defense in the league at that point. They're not anymore. I think they're like 12th or 13th in the league now. But even as the number one rush defense at the time, in the second half, Nick Sirianni committed to the run in the second half. Miles Sanders had 55 of his 57 rushing yards in the second half. We were able to run against the best run defense. Throughout the run to the playoffs, every time we faced a really good rush defense, guess what? We were still successful running the ball. Is it that simple? And I said it yesterday. My first initial key to the game is controlling the clock by running the ball so Tom Brady does not have 70 offensive plays to put up 40 points against our defense. Is it really that simple to at least compete in this game against Tom Brady?
Now I feel like you're tuning in. That is exactly what my words were last night. That is the key to the game. Control the clock. Run the damn ball. And that is something I can't stress enough. You said it, though. Dude, it doesn't matter who. Now they're facing the Saints. Now they'll find out. Doesn't matter. So I wish we could have seen what this team would have done against a team like the 49ers when we faced them. But they haven't been the same run defense. But, we weren't that team yet. And you said it. When we finally started running the ball in the second half, it was like, dude, no one can stop us. So in that Raiders game, Miles Sanders gets hurt. But before he did, we were finally starting to run. And it was like, see, this is what we could look like. And another big thing for me is, running the ball. Yes, I think that you're going to be successful because of the way the team is built. But Jalen Hurts, he needs you to do that to develop as a quarterback. You cannot have him throwing the ball 30 plus times. So at that time, we were a much different team. And I couldn't stress enough, run the effing ball. And now we're running, baby. And we're the number one rushing attack in the league. And look, we're 32nd in the league when it comes to passing the ball. We are the number one rushing percentage team. So we're literally running the ball. You know who is actually the number one passing team and not good at running? That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you talk about making them one-dimensional, taking away, the clock from Tom Brady. So right away, you know what you need to do. You need to put him on his ass. Fournette's talked about maybe coming back. Mike Evans is a little banged up. They're missing Godwin. There's whatever excuse they're going to come up with. I don't
Antonio
care.
Brown.
Yeah. But they still have Tom Brady. In the end, it does not matter. You can always lose to good old Tom, whether that's from skill or cheating.
He could put the two of us out there wide receiver and still compete against it. I mean, that's how good. I mean, I always preach, dude, you may not like an all-time great, because whether it's Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, whoever it is, but dude, you got to respect the fact that you get to live in the era of it. You're older like me. We got to watch Michael Jordan play basketball, whether you like him or not.
That was me as a kid with Jordan. I was like, and then I got older and was like, oh.
Yeah. I'm the same way with Brady. I hate Brady. He's too good. But you know what? I am honored to get to watch him on a weekly basis because in our lifetime, we may never see another Tom Brady ever again.
I was at this game, dude, the Buccaneers, and I remember just sitting there being like, dude, I'm watching Tom Brady. And I was like, as much as I hate the guy, he's one of the greatest of all time. So you got to give credit where it's due. And for me, the fact that I waited, we all waited 13 years to get vengeance on him. We have had that sour taste in our mouth, but we still hate him. But the thing is, dude, we get a chance for Jalen Hurts' first ever career playoff game against the greatest of all time. Imagine what the narrative is then, Phil, if he beats them. Oh my Lord, the world's gonna lose their minds.
You know what I'm focused in on? There's one key stat going into this game that I'm focused in. It's kind of a joke. But Tom Brady only has a 50% win percentage in the playoffs against the Eagles. He's 1-1. He has not beaten us more
than point.
So I am hinging on that. That is my last gasp for hope.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's always a chance. Yeah, I want to touch back on the run because I want to get your opinion on this real quick here. So I hate when Jalen Hurts runs 15 times, 18 times a game. It's just too much. It wears him down. And there's a lot of talk on arm strength and this and that. And that's whatever. We could discuss that ad nauseum. With the effective running attack between Miles Sanders, if he plays, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, Kenny Gainwell, even Jason Huntley, who I am so happy. I've been a fan of him since we got him from Detroit. I've been wanting him to be our kick returner for a while. He took advantage of his opportunity on Saturday night, literally and figuratively ran with the ball. And guess what? JJaw's now on IR, whether that's a real IR or just an IR to open up a spot. That's another thing. And they've promoted Jason Huntley already to the main roster. First off, fantastic job taking the ball and literally running with it. But when they effectively run the ball like they have the last 4 or 5 weeks, you're starting to see Jalen Hurts' passing game just improve a little bit. Because all that running and that effective running is drawing those defenses in. And it's opening up. You're starting to see some more 15, 20-yard passes down the field. You're starting to see Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith with these bigger plays down the field. I think that's the key to Jalen Hurts' success is the run, not him running the ball, everybody else running the ball, and then him using his actual ability to pass the ball because, it opens up so much more. An RPO, a play action does not work if you're not running the ball. And I've loved to see his progression the last couple of weeks with the effectiveness of the run and how that's, translating to him passing the ball just a little bit better.
Hell yeah, man. That was the main stressor of this year. You cannot come out here trying to make Jalen Hurts this pocket passer right away. Eventually what he becomes, only time will tell. But what we did know is he was not that guy right away. What I didn't understand was people saying, he doesn't have accuracy. He doesn't have an arm. Look, those are things he needed to work on, but those are things he had. And the one thing about Jalen Hurts always was for me was the kid has the talent. It's the things that you can work on that he needed to work on. So having him passing the ball 30 plus times, running the ball 15 plus times, not going to get it done and did not get it done. So stressed running the actual ball, not your RPO, not, well, that's technically a shut up. It's not. Line up under center, run the ball.
My least favorite line from Nick Sirianni all year when he said,
I wanted to punch him.
RPO, yeah. He said, they count as run plays even though I threw 19 of them. No, that was his actual, not the rock, paper, scissors, not his first press conference. That was my least favorite line that Nick Sirianni used all year long.
That annoyed me. And I get it. Look, the analytics, well, technically, yeah, that's cute. But the problem is anybody that's played football, you know the difference and you know what it's doing to a defense. And you know that with a team like this, with the offensive line we have, with the weapons we have, what it does to a defense. You said it. Once you actually, now that we're doing what we're doing, you establish that run, the team knows that you have the most dominant offensive line. You can run all over you with anybody. that kind of puts them on their heels. Now, you've got a quarterback who's actually progressing, and that was going to take time. And the only way you're going to see that is with time. So people right away, he needs to be this quarterback. No, he doesn't. We need to see how he adjusts each week. So he had his problems. He missed those throws. What did he do? Went and worked on him. Oh, he's not hitting the middle of the field. Oh, now he's hitting the middle of the field. Oh, he's not going to the left. Oh, now he's hitting the left. One thing I've seen, though, guys, not turning the ball over. He's not really taking sacks. And a lot of that's the line. But a lot of that, he's a smart kid. And I think he's smart with his body. So when he is escaping the pocket now, whereas in the beginning of the season, he was running for his effing life. Yeah. I think they found a happy medium. And with a dual threat quarterback like him, it's a great thing to have him running the ball. But I only want to see it 5 to maybe 8 times a game. Maybe if you have to, if it's against a tough D. But that's not something I want. What I want is it just sitting in the back of the heads. You go place Russell Wilson, you're like, son of a bitch, because this dude can kill you in the air or on the ground. So just right away, oh, I've got to waste a linebacker or I got to waste a safety that's going to spy this guy. So I think obviously you had to establish the run. I don't know why we didn't at first. Look, Sirianni, first time being a head coach, but with the offensive line stressed, keeping Jeff Stoutland this offseason, we did just that. And I said the only way you're going to really help Jalen Hurts is by just running the effing ball. So I'm on cloud 9 right now, dude. I honestly can't get over the fact that we're the number 1 rushing attack and we're just running people over. And I think we could really surprise some people. You said it. Tampa has been getting worse. They still have Vita Vea right in the middle, but Landon Dickerson versus Vita Vea is going to be a beautiful matchup. Obviously, Kelsey will get some, and so will everybody else. But, dude, I'm pumped, bro. Just you got to run the ball, though.
I want to see a one-on-one battle between Vea and Mailata. Just a one. I know they play different positions, but like in a practice one-on-one, head-to-head, I would like to see those two monsters just go one-on-one in a joint practice and just see who can push. I mean, that would be a blast. So to wrap up the Jalen Hurts part, I've been preaching. I don't know if you agree with me on this or not. Jalen Hurts' problem isn't arm strength. It was the play calling, but it also was, his biggest issue to me was the translation. So he'd see it on the field, his mind would read it, and then it would get to his arm to react. His read to react time was too slow. And that's what made people think he was behind on passes or late or didn't have the arm strength or whatnot. And I think that's coachable. Teaching somebody how to read and react quicker is coachable. And you've seen that improve slowly. And now that we know that's his biggest deficiency, if that's what the coaches think is his biggest deficiency, that's something they can work on all offseason. Along with everything else he does as a leader. All you got to do is teach his mind how to read and react quicker. Then all of a sudden, these bad passes or these behind passes that you see, they become less and less frequent because he's just reading, reacting. He's not thinking about it and then throwing the ball. And that just gives you the perception he doesn't have the arm strength when really it's just, the translation of the information, the input that's going in his mind isn't translating quick enough.
That's 100% what it was for me. I just think it's the NFL, right? We all know that it's a completely different game, especially for a dual threat quarterback. That the college coaches are using those strengths and don't really care about much else. But to be honest with you, he was winging that ball in Alabama and especially Oklahoma, dude. And I really think that people were really just following narratives because I really thought, hey, he just needs some time here. And he needs to literally what you said. You really got to teach him. And the one thing that his trainer was so adamant about was the best thing about Jalen Hurts is he's so coachable, so teachable. He's so willing to learn because he knows he needs to get better. So he had this trainer, they're doing like these drills and he would make him call out plays. So he would like pick a play and Jalen had to pick what the defense was doing, blah, blah. So while he's like working out, he's doing that. And he said he would always pay homage to Randall, to Vic, to McNabb. And it's like, bro, he's trying to do something that these guys couldn't do. And I really think this is beautiful, man. I just think the whole process of watching him grow as a man is beautiful. But you said it, growing on the football field, it's just about teaching him those things. It's not that he lacks the talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Real quick, I got to get you out of here in 20 seconds or so. How do you see the game playing out? You don't have to give me a prediction. It's still so far in advance and all. Your 30-second, how the game plan, how's it play out? To win, to lose, what happens?
I think we put Tom Brady on his ass, embarrass him at his home, which is the retirement home now down in Tampa. I think that it's going to be a close game. It's always Tom Brady, so 4-point win, I'd say, for the Eagles. Just right now, 8.
Yeah,
8
I
in the
mean,
morning.
I follow betting lines. The betting line started at 7, then it went up to 9.5, then 7.5. That tells me that people don't know what's going to happen. Which, if people are telling me, the bettors are telling me they don't know, that means we got some advantage here. I think it dropped to 8.5 this morning right before the show, but it was at 9.5, 9, 7.5. It's all over the place. So it means the bettors are confused, which means we got a chance. And if we've got a chance, dude, that leadership, Jalen Hurts, I think it come through in the end too. So I'm loving it. I love your positivity. Yo, Jimmy Smith on the road to victory at OTR2Victory on Twitter. And check out his YouTube page. He does some fantastic work. And I mean, you're just a great guy too, also. So, my wife's going to say she's going to rewatch it. And you're like, oh, do you have another man crush or something like that? Like, no, just a really great guy. So
I said the same to my girl, though, so don't worry about it, man. And I love coming on a show where truly, dude, you have become a friend. And I appreciate, what I've been through. It's like you lose a lot in that time. And to be able to find somebody who loves the Eagles just like I do was something cool, man. So it's been a pleasure getting to know you, Phil. And I appreciate the kind words, man.
Absolutely, man. Hey, again, thank you very much, Jimmy. And again, make sure you guys follow Jimmy Smith's page on YouTube as well on the road to victory. Thanks a lot, man. And go Birds.
Go Birds.
All right, that was Jimmy Smith there on the road to victory. Again, I appreciate it. Make sure you're following him on Twitter and on YouTube. The guy is great. Always super, super positive. I love positive. You guys know me. If you've been following the show for a long time, I try to stay as positive as possible as well. Life's too short to be negative. And if you know Jimmy, he feels the same way about that. Power of positivity. I mean, it's a real thing. I love it. So anyway, that was his take on the Eagles and all that's going on with the Eagles right now. The rest of the show here today, we got a few other topics to cover, and then we'll wrap up for the day. We got lots of other great Eagles talk coming up this week. On Thursday, I got Connor Miles from SI.com. And on Friday, JC Allen, he's one of the beat reporters for the Buccaneers. We're going to have him on Friday morning. We're going to talk from the enemy side of the equation on what's going on there. So stay tuned on DSM Media all week. We're jam-packed. Eagles playoffs, man. It's fantastic. But in the NFL, other things did happen yesterday. Yesterday was the unfortunate term Black Monday, when a lot of head coaches get fired, get the axe. When teams decide, let's just get the offseason started right away, rebooting the franchise, if you so say so, want to call it that way. Some were surprised, some weren't. Also, some didn't happen that I'm surprised about and stuff like that. So real quick, I want to go over that. First off, the biggest surprise yesterday was Brian Flores and the Dolphins head coach getting relieved of his duties there in Miami. Couple back-to-back wins. He had 10 wins this year. They were 1-7, and he came back and won 10. I mean, 8 games, 9 games in a row, whatever it was. I mean, really, really surprised with everything that was circling around that team, with whether they're bringing in Deshaun Watson, whether Tua was the guy, this or that. I really, really am surprised Brian Flores was let go. I actually think sometimes when you get fired as a head coach after your first time, you got to go back to being a coordinator for a year or two, whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores gets a head coaching job pretty much immediately. He really, really did a really good job there in Miami. I was really impressed with his coaching job there. Not to say that he didn't struggle this year. I mean, he put himself in a hole to begin with, losing 6-7 games in a row there. I think he's the first coach to ever lose 7 games in a row and follow that up with 7 wins in a row. But there was so much going on there. I really think he deserves another chance. I think he will get another chance sooner rather than later. So that was a really, really big surprise. That was not on my list of coaching firings that were going to happen. Obviously, the Jaguars and the Raiders opening is there still. The Raiders have their interim coach, but most likely, even them making the playoffs, he won't get the job long term. You got Urban Myers, obviously was let go in Jacksonville. Bevel will not be there long term either. It's a great place for Doug Peterson. Hint, hint. Con, give my man Doug Peterson a call. Sunday night before Black Monday started, Vic Fangio, Broncos head coach, was fired as well. I know there's a lot of talk of Jonathan Gannon is getting interviewed in Denver, and he should go, and we should bring in Fangio to be our defensive coordinator. Maybe not. I did have an overreaction yesterday that I don't think Jonathan Gannon's as bad as myself and everybody else puts him out there to be. So whether he goes or not, I don't know. But Vic Fangio, again, I feel bad for the guy. Defensive-minded coaches just don't seem to work out in the NFL. Yeah, absolutely, George. He will definitely. Flores will be a great hire for somebody else. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Like I said, I'm blown away that he was let go there. Definitely did not see that one coming. But Vic Fangio, again, also, I mean, he was really saying, defensive coaches just don't work out really well in the NFL. But he was giving Drew Lock was giving Teddy two gloves, to be quarterback. They they weren't a great. They traded away his best linebacker in Von Miller or edge rusher. You know, they just weren't really set up for success there in Denver. I know he had a few years, but you're in the division that's great with the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Raiders. I just don't think he was given a fair shake there in Denver. You got to give a guy, a quarterback to really be, to really know if they're a great coach. Obviously, Mike Zimmer out in Minnesota yesterday. They fired their GM as well, Spielman. That Minnesota. I mean, in the championship game in 2017, lost to us. But man, they just committed way too much to Kirk Cousins, a very average quarterback that puts up a lot of hollow stats. Again, Mike Zimmer's probably happy to be out of Minnesota and not be attached to the hip to Kirk Cousins anymore. I wouldn't even want to go. I mean, if I'm interviewing for the head coaching job in Minnesota, the question's going to be, well, what are you guys doing with Kirk Cousins? Am I forced to have Kirk Cousins? Because let's be honest, they have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook, 3 great offensive weapons there. They have an okay defense. They have draft picks. You got to work around it and all. But man, if I was the head coach, would I want to go there and be the guy, the next guy hooked onto Kirk Cousins? I'm not sure. So yeah, there's that job. Then Matt Nagy with the Bears. Matt Nagy was fired from the Bears. Not surprising at all. Surprised he made it through the season. Again, a guy that's just, he won a boatload of games his first year. The double doink happened, and that ended that season. And they've just been on a downward trajectory right from the get-go, or since then. Excuse me, they're talking nonstop there. I needed a little sip there. So Matt Nagy, no surprise, but again, falling down. They got Justin Fields, a nice young quarterback there. Whether he'll be successful or not, I don't know. But, the next coach coming in at least has something to build with in there. They need to improve their running game. Singletary's, okay. Allen Robinson will probably be gone, so they're going to have to draft some weapons to go with Justin Fields. But, it's Chicago. I'm not sure who will go there. But they're the coaches that have, the openings so far. There's 6 head coaching openings at this moment. The Dolphins, the Bears, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Jaguars, and eventually the Raiders. They're the spots that are available right now. On the flip side of the equation, some jobs are not open right now or yet. First, obviously, our one of our favorite rivals, the New York Giants. At this point, it seems like Joe Judge is going to be back. Gettleman has, quote unquote, retired as GM there, which is a step forward for the Giants, step back for the rest of the NFC East, because now Gettleman won't be making bad decisions in New York. I mean, Gettleman makes Howie Roseman look like the greatest GM ever. That's how bad of a GM Gettleman is. Spent all that money on Galladay and drafting Tony in the first round, and they had 0 touch. Lane Johnson had more touchdown catches than their top 2 financially invested wide receivers. That's not good. Excuse me. So the fact that they at this point are not firing Joe Judge, it's a surprise. There is those scenarios where the coaches or the ownership takes some time to make decisions on them. So Black Monday is the day where most of the coaches get fired, but you've seen it. I mean, Doug Peterson wasn't fired on Monday; he was fired, a couple days down the line. After more and more meetings. Joe Judge supposedly was addressing the team yesterday. That doesn't even mean a thing. Joe Judge still could be gone. It just means ownership's, taking their time there. I did not say he's the best GM ever. I said compared to Gettleman, he looks like the best GM ever. Totally different. Do not put words in my mouth right there at all. And if Gettleman retires, the new GM may come in and be like, "Yo, I don't want Judge as my coach. I want to pick my own coach." So there's a lot that could change there in Giants still. I wouldn't write that off. Some of the other teams in the league, I was actually expecting. I brought up a scenario a few weeks ago that Pete Carroll might be on the hot seat, might be out, and this is one that could drag on a few weeks before they let go of him. There's a lot of talk of Russell Wilson moving on. Maybe Vince Quinn and I, we both keep saying, let's bring him to Philly. It's a pipe dream. It's not realistic. And honestly, the way Jalen Hurts has been progressing and getting this team into the playoffs, it might not be necessary anyway. But, does Seattle really want to give up on 32-year-old Russell Wilson? He's got a relationship with Tyler Metcalf and DK, or Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Maybe there's a scenario where the owner of Seattle sits down with Russell Wilson and be like, "Yo, what can I do to make you happy?" And maybe the answer is, all right, well, let's find a new coach. And, you see that scenario sometimes in sports where the star player dictates getting the coach gone. And the star player has influence on who the next head coach is. It's something I've been thinking about. It's something I've talked about briefly a few times on Twitter and on here. I would not be surprised if in a week or so Pete Carroll isn't gone in Seattle, which would open up a huge coaching opening there, for sure. Let me bring it up here. I'm trying to think of. I know I had one other name that I thought, and if anybody watching has a coach they think that should get fired, let me know. After the playoffs are over, also, I mean, if they don't have, if they're one and done in the playoffs, I could see Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, he's obviously struggled so far as a head coach. He's only got a 500 winning percentage. He hasn't really done much. Wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I'm surprised Matt Rule, has struggled so much. Again, no quarterback there in Carolina, but that's a name that I would have expected to maybe be gone, but isn't. David Culley with Houston. I mean, it's a miracle winning, 4 games with that team and all. But of a new quarterback, and there's so much upturn. Maybe they just need to reset there in Houston altogether. At Wilson's age, not a good idea to let him dictate the future. Let's be honest, 32 is not old for a quarterback. Not at all. I know not everybody plays to 45 or 75 like Tom Brady will, but 32, he's protected his body. This year was the first time he's ever missed games. It was because of a thumb injury, not because of a bad ankle or a recurring hamstring problem. I don't buy that age thing there at all. 32, Russell Wilson, you still got 8 years of Russell Wilson, maybe 3 or 4 more years at least of really, really strong Russell Wilson. Yeah, Matt Rule should go. Yeah, absolutely agree with you on that one as well. It is for a mobile quarterback. Yeah, but again, Russell Wilson protects himself. He protects himself a lot better than most mobile quarterbacks. He doesn't take the big hits regularly, week in, week out, that other guys like Jalen Hurts was earlier this season. Brandon Staley, a name that everybody kept talking about that should have gotten fired just because of the bad performance in that last game. I don't agree with that. You keep latching that Herbert and Staley for at least one more year. And I think that's about it on the coaches that should have been relieved of their duties. But yeah, going down the list, yeah, that's about it. So yeah, I mean, will disgrace. Who's a disgrace? I don't know. I'm not sure. Will disgrace. Maybe we'll discuss. I'm not sure. Yeah. So a lot of openings. In the NFL, we'll see. Obviously the talk is Jonathan Gannon's on the short list. And I brought it up yesterday that Jonathan Gannon should still be the defensive coordinator next year, and Shane Steichen should be the one moved on. Because I think we've been a little harsh on Jonathan Gannon. Everybody's like, "Oh, go ahead, let's support getting Jonathan Gannon to be head coach at Denver." I don't think he's ready for a head coaching job. That's I think a bit of an overreaction from these teams. But we will disagree on Russell Wilson. Gotcha. But Jonathan Gannon, maybe just wasn't as bad as we said, and maybe not as bad as we made him seem to be. Because let's be honest, he had no talent on this defense. The linebackers not good, the safeties not good, the depth at cornerback not good. Losing Brandon Graham, our edge rushers. I mean, we can't sack a quarterback at all. When your defensive tackle Hargrave leads your team in sacks, So Jonathan Gannon did get a short, stick. So he's or a short or a bad rep there for what happened there. But I don't think he's ready for a head coaching job. So we'll see how that goes. Vic Fangio will make a great defensive coordinator somewhere, and he'll get another head coaching job opportunity at some point, I am sure. But yeah, so they're the 6 openings. Again, like I said, I think there'll be 1 or 2 more that'll come down the line. But we'll see how it plays out. I just think that every one of those teams should be calling one Mr. Doug Peterson and making him their first candidate to be interviewed for one of the positions. He's gotten his year off. He's gotten his time to rest and reboot and reset. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback recently. I think it's time. Oh, there was one other name that I thought that should have gotten fired and let go, and that's Frank Reich. Let's see this comment here. Let's be honest, NFL teams around the NFL seemingly rate Gannon very high. I trust their evaluation more than the average Eagles fan. 100% agree. That's why, I was starting to think of my whole Jonathan Gannon overreaction yesterday. I started thinking about it a couple weeks ago when these rumors about Jonathan Gannon being on a short list happened. I'm like, well, maybe I'm misevaluating Jonathan Gannon, and that's why I start to formulate that opinion that, we should be giving Jonathan Gannon more time. So that's that. Anyway, one other coach that I thought that should have gotten fired, Frank Reich in Indy with the Indianapolis Colts. He latched his star. I think the GM and the coach. I mean, Jim Irsay's got he's got his hands. Owner Jim Irsay got his hands full in what to do. People in Indy are already calling to take the cap space hit, the dead cap hit, and get rid of Carson. Frank Reich was supposed to be the savior that was going to save the Colts and save Carson Wentz's career. didn't happen. All you had to do is beat the Jaguars, and they couldn't. Honestly, losing to the Jaguars in Week 18 and a win, you're in. Losing, you're out. I think Frank Reich should have been fired yesterday. And I don't know what Jim Irsay's thinking right now. I don't know if he's still debating that topic right now in his head or in his offices. But that is another name. So that could be a 7th opening or an 8th opening that opens up also. It's kind of hard to get rid of Carson Wentz after you invested a 1st and a 3rd round draft pick in him. But yeah, I mean, it depends on whether Reich. Yeah, that's true. We don't know the true thing. Whose idea it was to bring in Reich. But they're attached to the hip, Reich and Wentz. So I would not be surprised if I wouldn't have been surprised if Frank Reich got the axe. He didn't yet. But again, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, whose ever idea. Absolutely agree with you on that. It did not work out at all. It worked out for the Eagles. It makes Howie Roseman look again. I'm not saying he is executive of the year. I'm not saying he's the greatest executive, George. Do not put those words in my mouth. But he does look like a damn good trade, getting rid of Carson for a 1st and a 3rd. Absolutely. All right, so that's it for the NFL head coaching talk. Real quick, I know, George, you won't like this. So have a great night if you decide to go. But the Sixers did win their 7th game in a row last night. Got to talk about that really quickly. They beat the Houston Rockets 111-91. Yeah, another game. Another game for Joel Embiid, 30-plus points. I believe that's his 10th game in a row with 30 points. Our 7th win in a row. We are now 23-18. No, 23-16. This run has been bye, George. I knew as soon as I mentioned Sixers, you'd be out. It's all good. We'll be back tomorrow with more Eagles talk. And then don't forget, like I said, George, Thursday, Friday, more great guests to talk, more Eagles and Buccaneers as we continue our march to the playoffs. But I got to spend these 10 minutes talking to the Sixers real quick. So anyway, as I look over here at my box scores and my sheets here, the great thing about last night, Joel Embiid, like I said, another dominant performance, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks, a steal. I mean, another superhero ball night for Joel Embiid, another MVP performance for Joel Embiid. But he only played 26 minutes. Because I said it, I tweeted it out at the end of the 3rd quarter. We were up 18. We needed old school load management last night. We needed Joel Embiid to not have to play the 4th quarter. It's fantastic when you have an all-pro player like Joel Embiid and you don't need to use him in the 4th quarter. Fantastic work by the second unit that comes in at the end of the 3rd quarter, into the beginning of the 4th quarter, not letting that lead dissipate. Actually, they pumped it up from like 18 at the end of the 3rd quarter. I think it was up to 25 or 28 points. They had that lead up to, early in the 4th quarter. Made it easy for Doc Rivers to just be like, yo, Joel, night's done. Easy. Take the rest of the night off. Some other good stuff last night. Matisse Thybulle really impressed me again last night. Again, I know Joel has been talking with Matisse. Shoot. And I've been saying, if he just gets confident, he doesn't even have to make 40% or 45% of his 3-point shots. He just needs to take them with confidence and knock them down at a fair clip, 35, 38%, something like that. As long as he takes the shots confidently, it gives defenses something to think about. And again, last night he had 10 points. He started. He only had to play 26 minutes. Again, great. Didn't have to use him late in the game. But, he took 5 3-point shots, made 2 of them. He took 7 shots overall, 4 of 7 shooting. He had his couple of rebounds, couple of assists, 3 steals. Just doing the things that Matisse does so well. And just adding that dimension of him being confident taking his shot, it just adds such a dimension to his game. Unless, we get to that point where, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, those massive, massive names are in the equation. Matisse Thybulle is an untouchable Sixer in a trade for me because he's just so important to what this team does defensively. And you get that confidence in his shot. I'm not saying he's making the shot consistently enough, but if he's just confident to shoot, no hesitation when he's got an open look, man, it's great. Furkan Korkmaz had 12 last night. Again, a decent shooting night, 6 rebounds, a couple assists. Again, a lot of ball handling. Curry was out. Maxey was out. Shake Milton was out last night. So a lot of ball handling for Furkan. He doesn't do an awful job with the ball handling. I don't dislike when he's got a ball handle a little bit. 12 points, not a bad performance from him at all. Danny Green even made a few shots last night. Tobias Harris, man, another offshoot. I mean, he had 1 or 2 good games in this streak now, kind of resetting, getting on the positive, trend. But then last night, 6 of 17. Really, really bad job shooting again last night. 1 of 5 from 3 for him. And then Drummond, another great game for Drummond off the bench, 13-10, in 17 minutes. Isaiah Joe, these opportunities. I talked about it earlier with the Eagles. Jason Huntley taking his opportunity and running with it. Isaiah Joe, again, taking his opportunity last night with all these guys, all these backcourt guys out. 10 points. He got 10 shots up. He didn't make a huge percentage, 2 of 6 from deep. Taking that opportunity and running with it is so key. Not that the Sixers weren't always Joel Embiid's team, but it seems this season he is inserting his leadership now. Absolutely agree with you on that. I saw somebody talking about where, with the whole Tobias Harris and thing, I've always said Tobias Harris was the quiet leader in the background, in the locker room. And as Tobias has struggled, Joel Embiid has inserted himself as the leader on the court and in the locker room with these players. He's really trying to help these guys grow and be better. I absolutely agree with you as well. Brandon, I am looking forward to the Sixers playing some better teams since Embiid literally looks absolutely agree. We can only play the teams, just like the Eagles can only play the teams that were in front of them, the easier schedule. January's an Eagles easy schedule. There's no doubt about it. But let's gain that confidence now in January. Let's continue. And I said I wanted, 12 wins in January. 11. When I said it, we'd already won a game, so I wanted 11 more. So 12 wins in January was a possibility. I wanted to see 11 to 12 wins. Then you get that confidence going. Then when you get to February, where we have a much tougher schedule, the confidence is through the roof. It's really good. He tells Maxey to let it fly. He tells Matisse to let it fly. He wants shooting around him, and he's making it clear. Yeah, it's almost like him telling these guys that he wants them to shoot, to let it fly. It's also kind of like a little hint to Daryl Morey. Look, I need more shooters on this team. That's what I need. I've joked around. Point center, Joel Embiid, man. It's better than point forward Ben Simmons ever was because he's got the leadership, and the players seem to gravitate towards him. Can anybody out there, even when Ben Simmons was here last year, before the fall apart happened in the playoffs, did anybody ever see Ben Simmons trying to hype up his teammates? Ben Simmons ever try to motivate his teammates in a positive manner? No. At least I don't remember ever seeing it. Joel Embiid does the complete opposite. Joel Embiid tries to motivate his teammates to be better on a regular basis, and I love that. Absolutely love to see that. And then some of the kids got in. Yeah, Charlie Brown. I just love that there's a guy named Charlie Brown on our team right now. We had Bassey, Henry, all these guys got in yesterday. Old school load management, great win. Fantastic job. Awesome tidbit last night. That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, absolutely. Look, we got the Sixers. They're now in the 5th seed. They've got now a full game of separation between the Cavs in the 6th spot. They're actually only 4 games out of the 1 seed, actually. That's how good it is. They're only 1 game back from the Bucks, who are, I believe, in the 4th spot right now. Look, the Eastern Conference, like I said, if we can go on a run here in January, which we are doing, we can keep this win streak going. Look, the sky's the limit on where they can get in the Eastern Conference this month. But I don't want to let it stop. We still need to make a Ben Simmons trade. Okay, so here's the standings right here. Yeah, we're 4 games out. The Bucks are 1 game ahead of us for the 4 spot, and we're only a game and a half out of the 3 spot. This team and this schedule that we're currently on sets us up for a great opportunity. Let's see here. Embiid has been watching Michael Jordan, Kobe. Yeah, I heard them talking about that last night, along with some Buckeye thing in Ohio. I don't know what Kate Scott and Allah were talking about there. But yeah, he's been watching it, and that's why. Yeah, Joel Embiid still at this point in his career is trying to get better. It just goes to show, his drive to become the best is unmatched. Absolutely, 110% agree with you on that. But man, as we continue to play this month, we can win more and more. And I just don't want the Daryl Morey to kind of see. I'm trying to bring up the schedule here so we know who the next few games are right off, so I don't get it wrong here. Hang on a second. We've got. Wednesday night we got Charlotte, then we got Boston, back to back, or 2 games at home there. We go Miami, Washington, but then we're back to some easy games. Orlando, the Clippers, San Antonio again, New Orleans again. Then we close out with Lakers and Sacramento. A lot of winnable games there. I don't want this winning streak. I don't want this dominant play from Joel Embiid to make Daryl Morey think, I can hold out for that perfect play, that perfect player, that perfect trade. No, we still need to get this. Joel Embiid is playing his best career. We thought last year was the best ball he played of his career. Well, this year's even better. So I don't want Daryl Morey to be complacent and be like, I have this fear in the back of my head. That's not a fear per se, because it'd be really cool to see it happen. But this fear in the back of my head that he's holding out till next year because he wants James Harden and he wants to make that Ben Simmons for James Harden trade. I don't know if I like it. I don't know. I'll think about that down the line if we get to that point. But I don't want to waste this year. And by holding out, and not taking the best possible trade right now, whether it's a De'Aaron Fox, whether it's a somebody from the the Cleveland, whatever. There's lots of rumors on all the different trades that are out there. By holding out, I worry we're going to waste potentially a great season from Joel Embiid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the games work out, but if they get into the top 4 or top 3 in the East by February, Daryl needs to trade Ben. Absolutely. But my fear is that by them doing that, he holds off even longer. He wants that, Dame Lillard, that James Harden, that Bradley Beal return, and maybe he holds out. I mean, he did make the statement. It could go 4 years. I don't think it does, but it's possible. And I don't want to see that. I don't want any complacency. I want to maximize this season because with the right tweaks, with getting a proper return for Ben Simmons right now, whatever it may be, we can go as high as Jalen Brown, we can go as low as Buddy Hield, Halliburton, and some combo from the Sacramento Kings. By maximizing Ben Simmons right now, the best you can get right now, you're potentially maximizing this season with Joel Embiid. The East is wide open. The Bulls are playing great basketball, but I think the Bulls are beatable. If we get something for Ben Simmons, I think the Heat are beatable. Milwaukee is beatable. These teams with the right pieces around Joel Embiid are beatable. Let's get it done now. And I still will say I want the trade to happen sooner rather than later. Every day that ticks by, it gets closer and closer to that February 10th trade deadline. Whatever you get for Ben Simmons, you still may meet an ancillary move. And if you need an ancillary move, you need to have at least a few games of seeing what you've got with your first trade before you make that second and third trade to see what happens, whether Danny Green gets traded, whether Tobias Harris gets traded, whether you trade future, whatever it may be. Shake Milton, you need to make that move first with Ben Simmons so you can then make your second and third move. Hopefully, we can continue. Hopefully we got, like I said, we got Charlotte on Wednesday. They're a better team. We beat them twice already this year. They're a good team, but team that we should continue to beat. Boston's, man, they've really completely fallen apart as a franchise. I just don't know. I mean, they're still a playoff contending team, a play-in contending team. They still got Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. For some reason, Boston just wants to, instead of improving that around them, they want to split that up. I don't know what's going on. Then I can't wait. The Saturday game, January 15th against Miami. That's the game I'm pumped to see. Maybe I'm not sure if Jimmy Butler will be back by then or not, but Miami's obviously playing great basketball. They're obviously a contender in the East. So I really can't wait to see us play them and hopefully be as full strength as we can at that point. It'll be a really good judgment, really good test for this team. And then Washington, Orlando, more wins. So conceivably, we got 7 wins in a row, 8 against Charlotte, 9 against Boston. If we win those 2 home games, we can win. Even if we lose against Miami, that's 9-1. We can be 11-1 in a 12-game stretch. That's awesome to think about. And if John B continues to play MVP level basketball, the sky's the limits for this team. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in. Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. Had a fantastic show. Again, thank you to my special guest today, Jimmy Smith from On the Road to Victory. Make sure you follow him, OTR2 Victory, on Twitter, and check out his YouTube page, On the Road to Victory. A great guy, great positivity always. So thank you very much for coming on for the first half of the show. Eagles, Bucks week, playoffs continue this week on DSM Media. So make sure you hit subscribe and follow on all social media platforms. We got some great giveaways. Check out our Twitter page at DSM_media. You'll see all the great giveaways for following us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, all those different sites. We got contests going on all week, giving away some great gear. So make sure you check all that out. I will be back tonight with Jason Sullivan for Fairway to Heaven, the best damn fantasy golf podcast there is out there. We're partnered with Fantasy National. It's the first full event of the season, the Sony Open. So get to really tap into the Fantasy National model program that they have tonight and really dive deep into some stats and building lineups for DFS golf on DraftKings. I'm super pumped for it. I love the show. I did call Cam Smith last week. So, hey, maybe my Cam Smith love continues this week. We'll find out tonight, 9 p.m. right here on DSM Media. So make sure when you hit that subscribe button, you also turn the notifications on YouTube. Again, thank you to my guest, Jimmy Smith. I'll be back tonight at 9 p.m. and then back again trending the AM tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. I don't really have a game plan yet for tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe I'll ask a guest to come on. Maybe I'll run solo. Maybe I'll hit up some of the DSM team to join me. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to wing it, but we're going to continue our Eagles talk, Eagles-Bucks talk, NFL playoffs talk tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Hey, everybody, have a great day. And, go Birds.